Hello, everyone. My name is Corinne Cicedo. I'm the Assistant Director of Business Solutions for the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh. Also helping on sort of technical side today is Josette Fitzgibbons, also in the Business Solutions Department at the URA. She'll be sort of keeping track of questions as they are added to the chat. Just a little background on the URA. We provide a variety of a lot of services, but specifically for business owners. Directly, we provide loans, guidance on state resources, so state tax credits, other state loans, grants. Obviously, we share business resources through webinars or email blasts, social media. We support business districts directly, development tools. So obviously, we'll encourage you to visit our website if you're not aware of some of the services we provide. I'll just note that we do not directly provide the sort of technical assistance on submitting grants, and we're not going to be accepting any of these grants. So just to be clear, the URA is just sort of helping guide you hopefully to the right resources. Thank you for attending this webinar. We're really excited to have Ann Schlicht from the Chatham Center for Women's Entrepreneurship with us, and Mitra as well, helping also on sort of the technical side. And I'll just say that we do not have all the information on this grant at this time. The county is still developing some of the requirements, but we do feel like we have enough information to give you some valuable guidance on how you can best prepare for that application. I'll just note to again, put your questions in the chat. The presentation is not, terribly long, so I think we'll be able to get to questions within 10 or 20 minutes. Maybe that's optimistic. We'll see, Ann. And if you are calling in, we will answer the questions in the chat first, and then we will open it up for those of you on the phone if you'd like to unmute yourself and ask at that time. So we will be giving you an opportunity. And then we'll be sending a copy of the presentation Ann is going to be presenting, and a copy of the recording out in a follow-up email. So hopefully it gets out to folks who are either listening to this now or listening to this in the future. So without further ado, I'll pass it along to Ann with the Chatham Center for Women's Entrepreneurship. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for the URA for inviting us to join us today for the presentation. As was mentioned, my name is Ann Schlicht. I'm the director for the Center for Women's Entrepreneurship at Chatham University. And for those of you that may not be familiar, our center is actually 15 years old. We celebrated 15 years this past fall in supporting women business owners in our region. One of the things I do want to make you aware straight off is that our services are targeted towards women, but we also support male-owned businesses as well. So if you are a male-owned business on the call today, please know that you are welcome to connect with us, to use our services. And we do provide technical assistance to help business owners when they are applying for grants or federal loans or local loan programs. So please do reach out. But we have lots of different training programs to help you grow your business. Now, let me see. So, like I mentioned, we have training programs for starting off in business, or so if you're 0 to like 1 or 2 years in business, or if you're further on in business and you're looking to expand and grow. We have a concept to launch, which is very popular for businesses starting out. It's a 6-week startup program. The next one will start in about 3 or 4 weeks. We have a program called Breaking Down the Business Plan. So if you're a business that needs help in developing a business plan for funding or for other opportunities, we have that program, which uses a software program called Live Plan. And it's very, very good. And I know a lot of the lenders really like that detailed business plan for funding. And then we have different workshops and webinars and different programming going on. For the audience we have here today, I want you to make you aware of that we recently received funding from the Hillman Family Foundation to offer more programming for the food industry. And I'm sure we have a lot of businesses in the food industry with us today. So I'm going to tell you a bit more about that later on, but our center is working with the Center for Regional Agriculture and food transformation, which is also located at Chatham University. And we're working with businesses in the food industry. That includes farmers, agricultural, it includes makers of food products, it includes restaurants, bars. So lots of information to come on that. The other thing I suppose I did want to make you aware of today, whether it's to do with this grant program from the governor or a federal grant program or loan program that's out there, is our center provides technical assistance. So we provide one-on-one business counseling to clients, either startup or in business, help them figure out where they want to go in their business. We also have technical assistance. One I want to draw your attention to is we have a funding clinic. So that helps clients who are looking to apply for loans, refinance existing loans, or apply for grants. We have done many, many hours of helping clients with their PPP loan applications or the idle disaster loan, and actually on federal grant programs and state grant programs as well. But we also have assistance to help businesses with if they have legal questions or HR questions or digital marketing. We've done a lot about helping businesses get their websites up and running and more efficient. So that's technical assistance. One thing to remember, this is free. Our center is partially funded through the Small Business Administration. And with that funds, we're able to provide this type of technical assistance to you for free. We also have specific counseling hours dedicated to helping businesses with COVID-19 loan programs, resources, and recoveries. And this web grant program I'm going to talk about today falls under that guidelines. If you haven't or you're still unsure about applying for the PPP loan, as of yesterday evening, the announcement from the SBA we received is there's still over half the funds remaining. And you can still apply up to the end of March for that. There have been a lot of changes to the PPP program since it was first announced back in May last year. And it's a lot more favorable now, I can tell you, especially for smaller businesses. So reach out if you have questions and you're unsure about it. We also have a COVID-19 resource page up on our website. And we put all the updates on all the federal and state and grant programs up there. And one thing we have as well is we have a new tab for food-based businesses. So all the training and counseling and programming that we're doing for food-based businesses will be uploaded onto that page as well. We uploaded there and we shared with some of our clients. I know DoorDash had a grant program out for restaurants there recently. So to tell you about the program we're doing today, which is the Hospitality Industry Recovery Program, also known as CHIRP. So I wanted to give you first an overview of the program and then to go into some more of the specifics, all right? So a bit of background. On February 5th, so not long ago, Governor Wolf signed into law Senate Bill 109 that allocates $145 million to support the newly created COVID-19 Hospitality Industry Recovery Program. So this program, under this program, restaurants, bars, and others in the hospitality industry that have been adversely affected by COVID-19 pandemic can apply for grants. So that's the first thing we want to make sure they're a grant of up to $50,000. So it's no more than 50, of up to $50,000. Grants are intended to alleviate revenue losses and pay eligible operating expenses due to the pandemic. So that was the overview of the program. What happened then is the Department of Community and Economic Development, DCED as they're known, is in the process of right now, and I think they're nearly completed, in distributing block grants to the 67 counties in the state. So they were given the responsibility to distribute these grants, and allocations were to be completed by last Friday. Each county will receive an amount based on their population proportion. So from the research I did online, and that was released by the state and the governor, that Allegheny County, and if your business is based in Allegheny County, based on our population proportion, is in line to get $13.7 million for this grant program. So that's a good lot of money. All right. So the other thing is to be aware of is in accordance with the state guidelines, each county will contract then with one local certified economic development organization or a community development financial institution, right, to administrate the funds. So, and yesterday I was able to confirm with Allegheny County that they have signed an agreement with the Southwestern PA Corporation, SPC, to administrate these grants. Now, don't all rush onto SPC's website right now, because I can tell you there's nothing up there. The agreement was just signed yesterday. The county is now working with SPC to establish an application. And under the guidelines of the state guidelines of the program, the portal for that application has to open by March 15th. It may open before then, but it is required to open by March 15th. And they are required to distribute the grants, the funds, by July 31st, 2021. So that gives you a timeline for this program. Grants will be awarded to businesses that are eligible for this program in increments of 5,000. So it's kind of similar to the grant program the governor had last year, where the grants were awarded in increments of 5,000 to a maximum of 50,000. So we know the minimum we could receive is 5,000, the maximum would be 50. Okay. So the hospitality, so one of the things, I want you to take away from today, and if you're not already aware of already, is that you can sign up for updates with Allegheny County for this program. I'm signed up myself to make sure we get information. So there is a link here, but we'll make sure that you would get this link in the follow-up email, and maybe someone on my staff can put this link into the chat as well for everybody who's joining us today. Maybe Mitra, if you could do that, that would be great. So, and why I would encourage you to do that is in case the applications open earlier or there's more announcements from Allegheny County, then they will be responding directly to the people who've signed up for updates on their website. The other thing I can confirm to you that yesterday I asked Allegheny County for more information on documentation that will be required. So we know there's an application you have to fill out, but what other documentation will you be asked for in this application? And they said the documentation requirements are still being determined, but the following documents would be good to prepare at this time. And these are similar documents that were required for the grant program by the governor last year. So the first one is your business registration. And I know when last year for the grant program, a lot of people had problems with this. So make sure you have a copy of your business registration. You also would need to have a copy of your 2019 tax returns. Now, I don't expect, and I asked them, they don't expect people to have their 2020 tax returns done, but you will need your 2019 tax returns. You will also probably will need a copy of your profit and loss statement for your business for 2019, and I would prepare it for your 2020 as well. These are all good to have prepared. And you'll see why in a few minutes regarding the questions and the outlines that they have. The application, the other thing I want to make you aware of is the application will be an online via an online portal. So it won't be like a PDF that you can download or anything like that. It will be an online portal that you fill out. So what businesses are eligible for this grant? Well, there's two categories that they're looking at. They're looking at businesses that have NAICS codes, which is the North America Industry Classification System. So that have NAICS codes with designations within accommodation subsector 721, or in the food services and drinking places subsector 722, all right? And where accommodation, food, or drink is served or provided to the public with or without charge. If you are not sure of your NAICS code or where to find it, reach out to our center. The second thing is you also have to be a business with fewer than 300 full-time employees. And I know a lot of the clients that we work with have less than 300. So it's really targeting the smaller businesses. Have a maximum tangible net worth of not more than 15 million. You have to be in operation as of February 15th, 2020. And you need to remain in operation and does not intend to permanently cease operations within 1 year of the date of application, which I'm sure everybody does want to remain in operation. But if you were in operation before 15 and have since closed, unfortunately, you cannot apply for this. You also have to show, and you will have to present documentation to show that you have had an adverse economic impact due to COVID-19. And you're requesting the funds to support ongoing operations. And this is very similar to the PPP loan, which is to pay payroll and other operation expenses for your business. You have to show that you at least had a 25% gross receipt reduction in your gross receipts for a quarter in 2020 versus a quarter in 2019, right? So they are the minimum requirements to apply for this loan. However, one thing the state did say was that priority will be given to the following people who have met these requirements. If you did not receive a loan or grant issued under the state or the Commonwealth's political subdivisions or by the federal government. So what they're saying there is if you are a business and haven't received any funding at all, whether it's loans or grants, if you receive nothing from the state, because the state had a grant program last year, or if you did not apply or receive the PPP or the federal EIDL loan, you will be given priority. If you're a business that was subject to the closure by the governor's disaster declaration last year, if you can demonstrate a reduction in gross receipts of 50%, so you have to show 25, but if you can show a reduction in receipts of 50% for the period beginning March 2020 and ending in December of last year in comparison to the same period the year before. So you have to show a comparison that you really did get adversely affected by the pandemic with the closures in 2020 and that, you know, compared to what you did in 2019. Now, if you're a business, if the applicant was not in operation for the entire comparison period, like I just outlined there, then, but was in operation as of February 15, 2020, they will accept a monthly average reduction in gross receipts of 50% or more. And that's where maybe your profit and loss statements will come into place or cash flow for the period March 31st, 2020 and ending in December of 2020, comparison to a period for this year, January 1st, 2020, sorry, to 2021, 2020. Okay, so that's where we are right now. That is the information that we have. We expect that the applications will be opening maybe by this Friday, maybe in the next few days. Again, we're just waiting to hear, but we are looking for more information. So questions, and we have some people who have put up their hands. So let me see if I can find those.
So Anne, Karen Mitchell has raised her hand.
Okay, Karen, do you want to unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Karen, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yes, I'm in a unique situation. My name is Karen. I have it's called the Village Social Club and Event Center on the west side of Pittsburgh. And our issue is we came into establishment March 3rd, but we didn't, on our IN paperwork it says it's March 15th, but we really can't find anything that can help us because we're a grace period where we got shut down as soon as we opened our business, we got shut down.
So you were not open as of February 15th, correct? 2020.
We're not open as February 15th.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out, is there anything that can help us?
You know, Karen, I actually, because you're a venue, do you sell tickets at all? Do you sell tickets for venues, for events in your place, or is it a rental place?
It's a rental place for the
Mhm.
most part, but we do have events where we sell tickets as well. If we have a event ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, let me look into it, Karen, because I'm wondering if there's a way that you might be eligible for the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, which is under the federal government. Now, the SBA is still finalizing the outline for that. We got an update there a few days ago that again, there's new administration, there's new people coming in. So, and I do know they are hiring. So, and they really want to get people hired in order for when they open that application, so they can get them processed quickly. But they're still finalizing the eligibility for that. And
What is that called again? I'm sorry.
So it's called the Shuttered Venue Operations Grant. And I'm going to ask one of our staff members who's online today to message you directly there, Karen, in the chat with the link to it. And we have information about it up on our website as well. But we'll make sure we'll get your contact information. So when it does open with the federal government, we'll get it to you straight away. Okay?
I appreciate you.
You're welcome. All right. And I believe there's some others.
Okay, and Justin Zell, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, my question falls along in that same thing. So if you know more about the shuttered venues, because I'm looking at my NACE number and I don't qualify. I didn't know, because the word hospitality means a lot of things, so I double checked.
It does. And that's why I think they pulled out, you know, the two codes classification. Exactly, you know. So so Justin, so again, we'll take a note of your information. And you know, I'm hoping hopefully by this Friday, when the new assistant administrator, when we speak to her, we'll have more updates on the shuttered venue. I do know that the Biden administration is very wants to get this out, and so they're just kind of finalizing the rules before it comes out. So hopefully we can get you in under that.
Yeah, I can tell you that I have read the FAQ now 3 times. It's been updated so many times. My head is spinning a little bit. But,
yes. Well, the SBA, the SBA is known for their final rules. It's a final rule on a final rule on a final rule. Right. So, yeah.
My favorite part is that there's a few answers that are like, maybe.
Yeah. So exactly.
But I appreciate knowing this. Thank you for letting me know about the NACE codes, because if I didn't, I would have kept going on this until realizing I'm not eligible for it.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
So before we move on to the next question, I would like to mention that I will add all of you to our newsletter. And anytime if we have any other news about this grant or other grant that is coming soon in future, we will send out a blast email. So all of you will receive the email. So don't worry about that.
Thank you, Mitra.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Brian and we have Dale. So whoever would like to go next.
So I think Dale had his hand up first, or Dalal.
Yes, can you hear me? I'm not sure if
Yes.
I'm not a Zoom person. Okay, hi, it's Dalal, yes. Very quickly, if I followed, it was a lot of information, thank you. If I followed correctly, priority will be given to those restaurants or food service places that have not received any grants prior. My question is, we are 2 women, we got a CARES grant, and for a certain amount of money, and that money has literally almost run out between county taxes, city taxes, and all the bills we weren't able to pay that were backed up since we closed in March. So I guess
it won't prohibit you in applying for this, you know what I mean, and stuff. In the application, you will probably have to, because you will put your tax ID number down. So you will have to declare any funding that you received. Yeah.
So okay, so we still are qualified for it, but it seems that the chances would be a lot lower because
I mean, there's the way I look at it is there's a pot of money, right? There's a pot of money that's been allocated to each county.
Okay.
And they can only give the maximum grants they can give out is up to 50,000. So again, it all depends on how many people apply, and they'll work down through the list. So I would encourage, if you are eligible for this business and you are in the NACE codes and you have been adversely affected by COVID-19 and you were shut down, yeah, maybe you received some funding, but that's only one of the criteria there. I would get my application in.
Okay, that's what I was concerned
I
about.
would not, I would.
And I feel bad, like I'm not trying to be greedy. I know everybody is searching for things, but we literally, we can't even get to the summer plans that we have for outdoor
Correct.
dining because it's all run out.
Correct. And the other thing is as well is, get your application. They are trying to support businesses that didn't receive any funding. And a lot of the business is in the food and hospitality industry, because they were shut down by the governor and required to close. It did not apply for any of the federal programs, the PPP or the disaster loan, especially the PPP, which covers payroll. So, and there is funding under the PPP right now, and like I mentioned, the criteria for that loan and the criteria for forgiveness has changed quite a lot. Last week, the Biden administration made more changes, and it looks like more happening again. And they are trying to make it as favorable as they can for small businesses. Of the funds they released for the PPP in the second round, which opened after the holidays, only half have been actually distributed. So there's still a pot of money there too. So that's something to think about as well.
And one last question. I have a lot of things that I would like to do. I think you said the services you offer would be free, and there could be one-on-one consulting, because I have a lot of things I don't want to take the time today to talk about, but I do need help navigating a lot of things. Okay, so I can make an appointment later on.
That's what we're here to do.
Great,
So,
okay. Thank you so much.
I will be expecting to hear from you. Okay.
You will certainly. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Brian.
Hi. Thanks for hosting this and the URA as well. I appreciate that and finding out all this info. Two quick questions. One is that do you know anything about how they're going to allocate in terms of, because doing the math, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's not. It's only a couple hundred venues. We get it if everyone maxes out at
Correct.
50.
Got the 50,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So are they going to try to spread the love as much as possible, or is
it's an interesting question, because I had a whole load of them yesterday, and I said, well, what is the criteria for determining the increments? 5, 10, 15, 20. And I got the very nice reply, that criteria has been determined, right?
Of course.
But again, I would think some of it will be based on the priorities that they've allocated. Again, it will be based on, I assume it will be based on a revenue loss.
Yeah, because I just didn't know if their strategy of asking for 35,000 instead of 50,000, you're more likely to get it or anything like that,
Oh, I would always ask for more. So yes, but again, it is going to be based off of the losses that you incurred due to the COVID-19, and it will also look at what your operating expenses are as a business. All right, so it's two factors. What are your operating expenses for your business, and then what are the losses you incurred?
Okay, so the more the losses, the higher priority you'll be, in theory.
They didn't say that, but
it's over the 50% mark.
Yeah, but that is getting priority, exactly. So I would go to my numbers and get my tax returns out and get my profit and loss out, and then put it in that way.
And my second question, real quick, is again another strategy question. Is so I'm about to apply for PPP round 2, but if that lowers my eligibility for this, do I play the game and try to apply for this first?
That's challenge, Brian. I'm not going to lie. Now if you're applying for round 2, did you get accepted for round 1?
Yes.
Okay, so in round 2, you have to show a loss. Remember, you have to show a loss of 25.
Oh yeah, we have quite a substantial loss.
Okay, all right. So again, I would balance it out. You have to look at what your PPP ask is. It's very favorable. It's a forgivable loan, and what the amount there is versus what you could potentially get in the grant. And look at the pros and cons of where you are. Now, just because you're applying for a PPP does not prohibit you in applying for this grant, right? So, and you haven't received round 2, by the way. You will have to declare what you got in round 1. So regarding the priority, you already received the PPP. So for me, I suggest you apply for it again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
So-
and I'm just gonna, if that question is over, there was a couple questions I think scattered into the chat that maybe we can
Perfect.
catch up on. I think the earliest one I saw was from La Teresa Blackwell, which you may have already addressed. Her question was, so what is the criteria to receive the maximum amount of the grant?
And unfortunately, they have not disclosed that, and they have not disclosed how they're going to award the grants in terms of increments of 5,000. They have not disclosed that.
Yeah.
But if we look at what they're asking for in the grant, they are asking and looking for priorities for businesses that suffered a 50% or more loss. But you have to document that. You have to show it. Mhm.
Yeah. And then I think Tanya was asking, how can I obtain information on the application process to be a grant processor?
That you have to do if you're an organization that wants to administer the grants, that is, you have to contact Allegheny County, you know what I mean, and stuff. So the Allegheny County, each county, and depends on what county you're based in, but each county was rewarded. Remember I said those block grants. So the money was distributed out to the counties based on their population, and then the counties select one or more CDFIs or CEADOs, development organizations, to administer it. So that's completely decided by the county. I assume it's a contractual agreement that they have with them.
Okay, I think that's all the questions I saw in the chat. I'll just note for those on the phone, Allison did make a hopefully optimistic note that there's also hope for more support coming through the federal stimulus.
Correct.
The Restaurants Act is included in legislation, and caterers, event businesses are currently included. So that's, I think, catching us up on the chat.
Good. Yes, and just a reminder for everybody who's online. Our center does provide technical assistance, so whether it's assistance with this grant program, and again, hopefully we'll get more information so we can help you in the coming days, but also regarding any of the federal programs, the PPP, the Idle Disaster Loan, and when the shuttered venue will, once we get more details on that, helping you get your documentations together and applying for those as well. The SBA did announce yesterday afternoon updated webinars they're doing in the next 4 to 5 days regarding the PPP, looking at supporting women-owned, veteran-owned, minority-owned businesses. So we'll make sure we put that information maybe in the follow-up to this as well. So they're really trying to get this PPP funding out. They also made changes to the formula for the PPPs for sole proprietors. We're waiting on the final ruling of that, but it's a lot of sole proprietors and independent contractors, including caterers, were not able to really get their applications submitted the first round. One of the things I do want to mention is we do have, like I mentioned, training programming as well for food-based businesses. So we have a lot coming up over the next few months, and I just quickly want to bring your attention to those. All of these are free. They are recorded, and I understand food businesses have different timelines. So, if you're interested, please sign up and you'll get a link to the recording directly to your email, whatever email you use to sign up. We'll also upload these onto that resource page I showed you earlier on as well. So they'll be up there, you can go back and get them. But we have coming up in March a series of Marketing Mondays, it's called. Marketing Strategies for the Food Industry During COVID-19. So, and we're wonderful to have Rachel with us, Graper, who's a client of our center, had a food-based business herself, produced a food product, has worked with large food producers, and she's going to break it down every week into a 4-part series in helping you with marketing strategies for your food business.
So Anne, we did have a question from Dana about, I think that you partially just addressed it. Who do we reach out about website assistance for things like adding online ordering? There are the information that Anne gave, as well as the program that the URA has along with Neighborhood Allies called Get Online, Grow Online.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
we're at a pause on that right now because we thought we would have a rolling program this year of rolling applications, but we got so many applications, we had to put a pause on the applications, but that will be reopening. And there are also other options through Bridgeway Capital and some other folks. So Dana, if you just want to send your question, you can even send it to me, and also I'm putting my my email in the chat, and also check out the programs that Chatham has.
Yeah, Dana, we actually have specific assistance, technical assistance is called Grow Your Business Online. So that is to help businesses who are trying to get online or who are already online to enhance their website. So that is one-on-one technical assistance. And I'll make sure we get your last name, Dana, and we can get you signed up for that. Regarding food menu and changes to your food offering, that is, that actually we'll be working with Craft, and we'll get you signed up to work with someone to specifically for food businesses and changes to your strategy there. So we'll make sure you get help, Dana.
Okay, and we have a question from, I hope I'm saying the name right, Alihan. I would like to ask if there will be any audit checking on how the money was used.
Audit for the governor and the current grant program. I assume
yeah.
On what they'll be used. That's a very good question. I mean, regarding the federal programs, the PPP, to get forgiveness, you have to show how the money was used. In the guidelines in the bill that they listed right now, there is nothing showing that. It is more to show that you suffered a loss and what are you going to use the expenses on, and that you will be in business for the next year. But there is nothing in there right now that says in a year's time we'll reach back out to you. Not that I see right now, but that doesn't mean there won't be. But maybe when you get a grant agreement or when you get your funding, there might be something in the agreement that you sign at that time that has some information in there. But that's a good question. I'm gonna write that down and find out for you.
So a question from Diane, would funds be available for restaurants that have closed but have converted their kitchen to providing meals addressing food insecurity?
If your business is still in operation, if you pivoted in the delivery of services, yes, because your business is still in operation. But if you have ceased operation completely, you don't meet the eligibility requirements. But if your business is still in operation, you're pivoted. I mean, a lot of restaurants, pivoted from just doing takeout and just decided to do takeout for a while, and maybe are reopening now regarding the governor's announcement yesterday. But you have to be still in operation. Okay. Unfortunately, when I share my screen, I can't see the chat questions. So anything else in there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I just got one question that came directly to me from Alaya. I'm wondering if there's any help available for businesses who opened late in the year last year.
Yeah, it's unfortunately a lot of the programming that is out there with this one right now is from February. Then in terms of the federal programs, is kind of the same requirements as well. Not that we see right now, but not that's present right now. However, there is a new stimulus bill being put through Congress right now. And maybe there will be something in there. So fingers crossed. There is talks about obviously supporting communities and schools, but there are also checks to be sent to individuals. But there is more focus, and I know in the last few days, and putting support in there for small businesses. So hopefully there will be something, for businesses that maybe started in June, July, August of 2020, or the end of the year. You know, I can tell you from our center in the training programs we've done, you know, our startup training classes are completely full. I mean, you know, and we have 30 people in each one of them, and we filled them 3 or 4 times out in the last 8 to 9 months. So there is businesses starting, and you know, again, if there's shutdowns or requirements, they are adversely affected.
And also just another note from Allison Harnden, who is on the call, is the nighttime economy coordinator for the city of Pittsburgh. And she reminds folks that that the city office of nighttime economy is also here to help, particularly for businesses located within the city. They have a great weekly newsletter, news blast that they send out that has, Allison tries to pull all of this information together.
Mm-hmm.
And she put her email in the chat as well.
Yeah, and every, you know, we hear new programs every day, you know, and you know, it's again, sometimes they're targeted in certain industries, sometimes they target you know, certain demographics or geographical areas. So yeah, so I mean, there could be new things happening all the time. May not be your particular, you know, related to your industry, but it could be where you're located. So yeah, we you know, Allison probably updates our newsletter as we do with things that come across our table. Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if we wanted to open it up to folks who called in, if they didn't get a chance yet to
Yes, please
unmute
do.
themselves.
Yeah, please do. Mm-hmm.
So I think we have a couple people called in. Feel free to unmute yourself if you have any additional questions.
And I do understand that, you know, unfortunately, I was hoping URA and us were really hoping we might have some more details finalized on the grant program by today. But I hope the information we provided you can take away and at least start gathering your documentation and looking at what loss, you know, what percentage of revenue, gross receipts lost that you incurred in 2019, and pulling that document together to get your application in. Now, it does not say first come, first served, and not like the PPP when it opened, but you know, I would you know, do my best to try and get your application in as soon as possible after it opening, you know, because they do have an X amount of funds to expend.
So, Anne,
Right.
a couple
Well,
more
you
questions.
know, go ahead.
Sorry, Corinne. 2 more questions just popped up.
Okay.
Could Mitra, maybe could you put in the chat what the codes are again that qualify? And then we got a question.
721 and 722. They're the NACE codes. 721
okay.
and 722.
So I also have a question. Thank each of you for your time and sharing the information provided. Is the first step to acquiring assistance through CWE through the counseling link provided, or is there a direct contact person?
Yeah, so all our scheduling is done online. We have quite a lot of counselors, and so we have an online scheduler. So yeah, we do it through our website. But if you have any problems, just reach out and call the center. Okay, not a problem. We can help you.
Okay, and Brian had a question about the link to the application, and Mitra put that in Allegheny County. So
Yeah,
the application portal will be on the county website.
No, not necessarily. No, the link to Allegheny County is to get updates from Allegheny County. So, you know, when they announce the application will be open. I had asked if the application will be on their website or if it will be on SPC, and they didn't confirm that yet. So it will be on one of those websites, but I'm not quite sure yet. So I would get your email and name and email into that Allegheny County's update list. So when they do open the application, and that you get the link from them. And it may be on a completely separate portal. It might not be on any one of their websites, right? So, you know.
I think as we wrap things up here, I just want to note that if you're also interested, I know it's not as nice as grants, but if you're looking for loans, the URA has loans. The county has a good loan product right now. I believe Bridgeway still has loan products out there. And I don't know if you know other ones offhand that.
Maybe for our audience that are here, I mean, URA has some really good loan programs to support women, minority businesses, very low interest rates. The Allegheny County brought out a COVID-19 small business loan program for MWDBE. And that is 100,000 or less at 0% interest, and the first 6 months are deferred. So, and I actually know a business owner got approved the other day for that. But so there is other loan programs out there. I mean, you know, I think what I would advise you maybe to do is to reach out to our center and maybe chat to one of our counselors. Just to really think through, do you want to incur more debt? I mean, if you already have a lot of debt on and see what your options are. That's what our funding clinic is there for, to look through what your options are. Mm-hmm.
And sorry, we misspoke. According to Kate, the county loan is actually exhausted, but.
Oh, is it exhausted? Okay, well, I didn't know that.
Sorry.
So thank you for mentioning that. So we were referring people to it, so it's good to know that. And again, some of these programs may have a cap with them as well. So you have to look around and source around other sources that are out there. Mm-hmm.
Just to recap for those that aren't able to check on the chat, we will be sending this presentation and the recording of this webinar out hopefully by Friday to everyone on the list, so you can either just read through the material or listen to our lovely voices again at your leisure.
Yeah, and again, you know, if we have updates after today, if we get some updates tomorrow, we'll include those as well, right? So we'll definitely make sure, but do sign up on that Allegheny County's website. And if you're not in Allegheny County, we could have people joining us today that weren't in Allegheny County. If you're in Butler County or Beaver County, both of the counties, Beaver and Butler, I know I was on their websites, do have links up there as well with information about how they're going to administer the grants. So do check in with your county board. Last thing I do want to mention is some of the food programming that we're offering. So we have that marketing series in March, starting next Monday for 4 weeks. And then on March 18th, we have a pandemic pivot speaker series on wine, beer, and spirits. So we have representatives, Meredith is going to speak from Wiggle Whiskey and Treadbear. We also have Strange Roots and Nasari Winery, who are going to talk about, you know, how they've been working through the challenges of COVID-19, things they are doing to pivot and to grow their businesses going forward. We did start off this pandemic pivot speaker series in February, and we had the owner of Tula Indian restaurant, now franchise, and also Five Guys franchise speak, and she gave great, she's a restaurant business owner, and she talked about things she had to put in place and changes she had to make, and software programs and things she was doing for delivery, and things that were financially feasible and that were profitable, and things were not. So if you want a link to that recording, that's actually up on our website, and we can send that to you as well. And then we're also doing another webinar in April about food photography and food styling. So we've had a lot of requests for this. So that's on April 8th from 4 to 5:30 as well. And I know we're going to have more programming, and we're going to have actually SafeServe certification and about food labeling as well coming up in April. So keep an eye on the website, but there's the ones we have confirmed to date, and these are all free. Okay, I do want to note that you do have to register for them, and a registration system on our website. You know, we are federally funded, so our registration system that we have questions that we are required by the federal government to ask. You can always opt out and not reply, not a problem. But just so, and you know, once you create an account in our system, you only have to fill that form in once. But it is a process that we are required to gather data just for our funding. All right, well, that's all I have for today, unless there's any other questions.
Yeah, we'll give last call, but Anne, I think this has been really helpful for everybody. I know we didn't have a ton of information to go off of, but I think you were able to really work with your base of knowledge and previous grant applications and grant programs. And I think give as much guidance as we could. And yeah, hopefully once we get more information, we can disperse that.
Yeah, and I now that I stopped sharing my screen, I can see some of the things in the chat feature. And one of the things as well is, it is great that, for some people who joined today are sharing resources on there as well. So take a look at those. I see Tanya just mentioned that there's a webinar, the MWDBEs tomorrow from 8:30 to 11:30 with information. So there's a lot of different resources out there. I encourage you to use them all and reach out. And if our center can help you in any way, we'd be glad to connect with you.
And helping populate the chat, and Mitra and Josette for setting this up as well. So we'll wrap it up. Thanks everyone for attending. And again, we'll try and get this out both as a recording and the PDF of the PowerPoint in the next day or two.
All right. Yes, and best of luck to everybody in your applications. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody.